We're diving into Star Wars comics, especially as a familiar face and one of our favourite villains returns. Hey everyone, my name is Captain Jack and welcome to Star Wars Now. This week we're talking about the 6th installment of a mainline Star Wars canon comic book series. Now, issue 6 is written by Charles Soule, and I can easily say these comics have been a real delight to follow the adventures of Luke Skywalker. Definitely, issue 6 is among my favourites so far. Before we do dive into the comic book issue, make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from us here on Star Wars Now. We've got plenty of awesome videos coming up to share with you. You can follow us on social media such as Twitter or Facebook. This week saw the release of a 6th issue in the Charles Soule's run on the Star Wars comic series, and it had a really interesting development that we hadn't seen anywhere else in Star Wars storytelling until now. The issue picks up with Luke Skywalker learning from Varela, a character from Soule's previous Darth Vader comic, that he can find a lightsaber at a High Republic-era Jedi outpost on the planet of Tempest. Despite Varela's warning that the temple is guarded by some kind of dark presence, Luke travels there and does indeed find a lightsaber waiting for him inside. However, when Luke lifts the saber, he triggers a trap. An apparition of a Grand Inquisitor from Star Wars Rebels appears to fight him.
No, it doesn't seem complicated. I am the Inquisitor. Welcome.
The Grand Inquisitor served as the main antagonist for the first season of Star Wars Rebels, voiced by Jason Isaacs, and when we last saw him, he voluntarily dropped into the burning fires of the Star Destroyer after telling Kanan Jarrus there are worse things to fear than death for his failure. Now his spirit seems to be eternally burning in those same flames. Luke and the Grand Inquisitor duel while talking, and the Inquisitor ends up affirming Luke's belief in the Jedi and his place with them. Despite the Inquisitor activating his second blade and destroying many of the other artifacts in the outpost, Luke manages to defeat him. When Lord Vader arrives, having sensed the trap being sprung, the Grand Inquisitor feebly admits to having lost to Luke. He begs Vader for release from his curse, but Vader denies him and departs, leaving the Grand Inquisitor to quote his own final words: "There are worse things than death."
There are some things far more frightening than death.
We've never seen anything quite like this in the past. George Lucas had a consistent stance that dark side users are unable to maintain their conscience after death in the way the Jedi can, which is why they cling so hard to their physical, as embodied by Palpatine. However, Soule's aforementioned Vader run did have the character of Lord Mormon, a Sith that maintained his consciousness for centuries by tying it to his helmet. The Grand Inquisitor's situation probably isn't dissimilar. He isn't truly autonomous like the Jedi who use the light side to live after death. He likely can't even leave the outpost Vader has tied him to. A concept we've seen a lot of is the idea that there are some locations that are inherently more strong in the Force than others, known as vergences, and the outpost status as a vergence is probably why the Grand Inquisitor can manifest there at all. The most unique and new aspect of this is the idea that Vader and Palpatine have somehow control over his spirit despite his death. It does raise the question that if this could have happened to other Inquisitors that died, like Trilla, who was cut down by Vader's own hands in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now it's going to be very interesting to see whether this concept pops back up again at all. Before we do end today's video, let's quickly talk about the issue 6 of the comic as a whole. This was easily the biggest and most shocking issue of the series so far. The idea seemed to have come out of nowhere, but in retrospect, it's very clear how Soule reminded familiar readers and introduced new readers to the concept of the Inquisitorius and the Grand Inquisitor by the way of Varela, a character who was hunted by the Inquisitors for half her life. The next story arc in the series seems to be taking a step back from Luke and Force-related plots to instead focus on Commander Zara and the Imperial hunt for the Rebels, which is an idea present in the early issues of this arc, but mostly dropped to focus on Luke recently. Knowing Soule, he likely has some neat twists in mind for the story to keep it engaging, but hopefully we get back to Luke's quest to become a Jedi later on in the story. That wraps up our video today. The next issue of the Star Wars comic series will be coming out on October 7th, which is the 7th issue of the series so far. In the meantime, if you want to keep up to date with everything from the Star Wars universe, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video. For now, thank you for watching, I've been Captain Jack, and we'll see you next time. May the Force be with you.